Welcome to episode 2 of starting my home bakery. So in the last 4 weeks, I sold for 3 weekends, and in 3 weekends, I had 7 orders in total. 5 of them were through the website, and then 2 of them were actually through social media for the first time. One of those came from Instagram, and another one came from TikTok DMs. So let's first talk about what went well. In these few weeks, this is the first time I started actually getting customers from social media. So I started my social media channels about a year ago, and I started just posting shorts even before I actually officially launched my home bakery, because I was thinking it could help with marketing the business later on. So I put in that investment, and it's nice to see that it's finally coming around because we have like a few customers that are actually coming from seeing my videos on social media. And then another great thing that I found out in the last 4 weeks is that it seems like my product is actually pretty good. So I actually heard from 4 different people so far that they really enjoyed the product. They mentioned like it's not too sweet. Everyone seems to love a bunch of the different items. There doesn't seem to be a clear winner yet, which I think is good because all the recipes I've like tested and gotten feedback from my friends and everything like that. So that's good to hear that there's a menu item for everyone out there, which is really nice. I'm really glad they like it because I worked really hard on it. Now that we've gone through what went well, let's move on to what I've learned. First of all, in my first week, I had mentioned that I was like making all the banners and the like Instagram posts and YouTube posts, everything was actually using PowerPoint. And I think actually just like a week later, I tried out Canva. And let me tell you, you don't need to like resort to using PowerPoint and stuff. Canva is absolutely perfect for designing like banners, YouTube thumbnails, printable like menus. It's just perfect for everything. I think the greatest part is that when you drag things, there's like some automatic alignment, which is like super handy for example, if you have multiple items on the page and you want them to be evenly spaced, it's super simple because Canva will automatically snap it into place when there's like an even distance between the items. So that is super handy. They also have some really great fonts on there. So I've just been using free Canva for the last few weeks, but honestly, it's a game changer. Like it makes the process of just designing everything so much easier. So highly recommend that. Even just the free version is good enough to get started, honestly. Now, the second thing I learned, which you will be very interested to hear, is that I found out in the last few weeks while posting shorts that bakery owner point of view shorts actually do way better than like your normal baking shorts. For example, I'll just preface this by saying before starting my home bakery, I mentioned I was uploading shorts, and usually those shorts are just like kind of baking recipes that I've like made up or I've tried, that kind of thing. And usually those get just like a few hundred views in TikTok. It's pretty consistent, honestly. Most of the time it's like just a few hundred, maybe sometimes even like 200, 500, something like that. But as soon as I uploaded the first home bakery POV short, which is like everything I baked in a week starting my home bakery, so that short, as soon as I uploaded it, it was like instantly 1,000 views, and then it just kept climbing. And then after that, I think since then I've uploaded like 2 other home bakery owner like point of view shorts, and those are all like constantly getting new views, and they have like so many more views than my other videos. So I would say honestly, if you are starting a home bakery, you should definitely invest in making those types of videos because those seem to be like really popular right now, so they can get a lot of traffic to your social media. And I have a theory for why those home bakery POV shorts do better. It might be a trend. For example, I have like a few favorite creators like Brookie Bakehouse. She does some amazing bakery owner videos. There's also like a donut shop owner, but I think there's like quite a few channels that are going viral, and they're all like bakery owner point of view videos. So I think that's one thing. It's just maybe like a trend right now. And then the other thing is that compared to, let's say, just like home baking videos, the bar to entry is much higher for the bakery owner type videos because you need to actually like own or work in a bakery, and you need to be interested in like the whole video production part of it. So I think because of those 2 things, that's why if you have a home bakery and you post that video, it'll get a lot more traffic to your page than just posting other types of videos. Another thing I learned these few weeks is that I personally really need a 2-week break between the sale dates. So in the last few weeks, actually what I did is I sold 3 weekends in a row. And I wasn't planning to do that initially. I was planning to have that 2-week break, but then because it was Mother's Day on that like middle weekend, we decided it was worth like trying it out and stretching myself and actually trying to sell on that date. So I did like all the posts and I created like a Mother's Day version of one of my items for that sale date. And then the next weekend, because I'm doing like a limited edition item thing, I had to create another new item for the next week. So it was actually a lot of work to, number one, be doing like all the marketing and then also be trying to like recipe develop back to back for like 3 weeks. So that was really hard. And I think honestly, with a full-time job, for me, I didn't really get too many orders on Mother's Day. So I feel like that's just not worth it for me right now. So that's definitely something I learned. If you have a full-time job, maybe like selling every 2 weeks is probably like the most doable. And then another thing I learned, so I don't personally use Yelp. Yeah, actually, I don't think any of my friends really use Yelp either, but my sister uses Yelp and she recommended that I create a Yelp business page. So I couldn't go through like the verification process to put my business on like Google Maps, but I was able to get it through on Yelp Business. So I did that, and then I wasn't sure like if it was gonna do anything because I don't personally use Yelp and I don't really know anyone who uses Yelp besides my sister. But yeah, it was really cool. Actually, one of my sister's friends organically found my page through Yelp and actually placed an order. So I would say it's worth putting your business on Yelp for sure. And the great thing about Yelp as well is they give like a 30-day free trial for Yelp ads. So I was able to get free ads on Yelp for my Yelp page for like 30 days. I don't think that ended up getting me any new sales. It could have attributed to my sister's friend finding that page, but yeah, I mean, it's worth trying, right? And it's free. Okay, I learned a lot like these few weeks, but another thing I learned was that when you're starting like a home bakery, or I guess probably just starting a bakery in general, if you haven't done it before, just expect to make things more than once. I realized that like being able to bake something perfectly every once in a while does not mean you have the whole process down so that you're consistent every single time that you need to put out this product. So I think because I had the expectation that like, oh yeah, I've done this before, like, oh, Madeleines is so easy, right? Just for example, with Madeleines, I found that if I leave the Madeleines in for like 1 minute too long, it's just a little bit too brown. 1 minute less, the color isn't perfect. So I've just realized that for all these recipes that you usually do for fun, you do really need to know like the nitty-gritty of how to get it perfect when you're like actually selling it for your home bakery. So yeah, just go in with the expectation that you might have to make things more than once, and I think you'll have a less hard time if you just go in with that expectation. And then another thing that I started recently is I wanted to give like a call to action so that when people are tasting my products and they really enjoyed their order, that they would think to like maybe tag my business in a social media post or give me a review on Yelp. So what I've done is I've created a little thank you card that I put in along with the menu that has like my social media handles and then QR code to easily get to the Yelp page to leave a review. So I would definitely recommend doing that. I think if you don't do that, it's definitely a lot less likely that people will tag your business. I noticed that when I started giving those out, people tag my business every once in a while. So I think that's definitely something you should try if you're starting a home bakery. All right, now I have 2 call outs. So one call out is that I think now it's getting a little bit better, but in the last few weeks, every single order day, I was like genuinely worried if I would get any orders. So I would worry about that, and then I would start to think like, oh my God, maybe it's like my menu is just overpriced. That could be why I'm not getting orders right away. But so far I have been getting at least 1 order per week that I've like opened up the orders, and I do have some repeat customers and I do have positive feedback from like strangers on my product. So I think it's just important to remember, actually I heard this from like a YouTube video, but it's the lesson that you need to try something 100 times before you can conclude that it's not working. For example, just because it doesn't work once doesn't actually give you enough data to conclude if it's not working because of some other variables, or is it actually like what you're trying that's not working. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. It's totally okay to fail and learn from your mistakes. So I think it's worth it just to try something, maybe not 100 times, but definitely more than once before you can solidly come to your conclusion that, all right, because of this, it's not working. And then another interesting point is that when you're starting your home bakery, you don't absolutely need a lot of money to start up, but I'll just give you some data. Like for myself, so far I have had to put in like a total of $1,000 into my business so far over like the last 2 months. And actually the reason for that is because in order to keep your cost of goods low, like your material costs low, I find that you generally have to buy things in bulk. So what that means is like maybe buying a normal bag of flour. I mean, that's like only like a few dollars, but in reality, if you want your like actual cost of your material to be low per item, then you need to actually buy things in bulk. So that would mean you could spend like just a few dollars to buy a small bag of flour, but have much smaller margins, or you could just spend the money now and buy like $50 worth of flour, but your cost per item will be lower. So I found because I plan to do this for the long run, I did decide to buy pretty much everything I knew I would be relying on for materials in bulk. So honestly, that is what has contributed to like needing $1,000 of my own funds to cover those costs. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're starting a home bakery. I mean, you can definitely get away with spending less initially. It's just that in the long run, if you want to make more profit, you're just gonna have to like buy things in bulk, honestly, to drive that cost of goods down. All right, next, we're gonna talk about action items and how I'm planning to improve. So one thing I'm definitely gonna be doing moving forwards is I will post at least one bakery owner like point of view video every week that I'm doing a sale. So for example, for how I'm planning to implement this, I do a new limited edition item for every order date. So I will just take a video that has either me creating that limited edition item or baking it again. I'll take that footage and do the voiceover in the perspective of like a bakery owner to try to capture that like audience. So that's definitely something I'm gonna be doing going forward to help drive the orders and also the like traffic to my social media. And then another thing I need to improve on is growing my customer base. So my first order date, I had mentioned that I was able to post on like my building bulletin board to market my business and get orders, and that worked really well because I got a couple of orders from that. But then the next time I was doing a sale, I posted on there, and then I realized later on that my post never went live, and actually like all the posts I did before got removed. So marketing in my building is not really an option anymore. So for now, I'm focusing on social media. But one thing I've done is I've reached out to my community from like their website, and I asked them if they have any events in the community that I could vend for. And they did get back to me and let me join that event. So I have one night market event coming up in 2 weeks. So I think that will be a really great way to connect with more residents in the area and like share my business. So I'm hoping that's a really great opportunity to grow my customer base. And yeah, that's it for this week's updates. Thank you for watching and keeping up with my business and seeing how it's going. Let me know if you have any questions below, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.